It's the end of an era for Irwindale Speedway, but at least for one more night, late models will take the track and late models will dominate this California tradition in Irwindale, California. It is the Energy Hour Productions 125, presented by the Maritime iRacing League, live on ETV Live. Good evening, race fans. I am Joe Cortez, joined by Evan Posco in the booth. Evan, we're going to have some great racing here tonight with the Maritime iRacing League. A lot of drivers getting their winner ready by putting themselves in the late model and getting back on the track doing what they love.
And definitely, it's week number 2 here with part 2 on their 2013 campaign, again here on ETV Live. If you guys tuned in last week, it was the Rustic Auto and Towing 150 at the Lanier Speedway. But again, round 2 tonight, you mentioned the Energy Hour Productions outer layer here at the Irwindale Speedway, a half-mile racetrack. Should be a great night. And a quick thing to note, the points leader right now, Dylan Duval, he won last week's Sportsman Series race on a Monday night to qualify for our main event. Took that win home Wednesday. He just won this previous Monday night also, so he's looking to make it 4 for 4 this season.
Dylan Duval, one of the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship drivers. He is a guy that's definitely always one you want to watch when push comes to shove, when when he's on the track. He is a guy you want to watch. Dylan Duval, 3 for 3, looking to make it 4 for 4 tonight, if that can happen, but it's going to have a challenge in front of him. Irwindale Speedway is a very unique short track. It's got very high banks. It's a very, very fast track, but like Darlington, you got to run up high if you want to be fast, which is great if you like running that skyline, but if you're not comfortable, if you're intimidated by the wall, it could mean trouble very, very quickly. It could also mean trouble if you're trying to make a pass. You got to use that slide job a little bit to try to get around the guy in front of you, and if you don't, you're not going to get anywhere in a hurry.
And definitely, and again, you guys are taking a look at the points there. Dylan Duval, obviously your points leader. Then you got Ronald McKay, who was sitting in that second spot, 2 points back. It's 2-point increments per position. So third was Kevin Savory, 4 back. Then you had Ricky Arbeau in the 4th position, 6 points off of the leader. Keith Mack in 5th, 8 back. 6th place, Stephen Matthews, 10 points off. Then Stephen Arsenal in the 7th position, 12 off. 8th place, Mike Rhino, 14 back. Mike Alexander sitting in the 9th position, 16 points back. And rounding off the top 10, it's Craig McDonald, 18 points off Duval up top.
Tonight's race brought to you by the Energy Hour every Tuesday night on 95.7 The Wolf in Fredericton, New Brunswick. It is a show all about regional stock car racing in the Maritimes with live guests and a whole lot more. Check them out online, 957thewolf.ca or facebook.com/Energy Hour Productions. The Energy Hour 125 presenting the Energy Hour race tonight here at Irwindale Speedway. Qualifying underway right now. No surprise, Evan. Dylan Duval right now scored at the top of the poll, 18.073. Dylan Duval's just been on a tear these first 2 weeks of the Maritime iRacing League, winning 3 out of 3 races. Tonight, he's got a good chance to make it go 4 for 4.
Yeah, definitely had the fastest car in practice, running the fastest lap of a 17.98, almost a tenth quicker than everybody else. You mentioned he's at the top of qualifying, things wrapping up in this qualifying session, so it looks like he may take that pole with a time of an 18.073, so that 42, definitely strong. Looking to make it again 4 for 4 on the season, a great feat. Obviously, he's running in the Monday Night Sportsman Series, and the top 6 finishers in that get the invite to join our race here Wednesday night with the big boys. And again, this is the MIRL, the Maritime iRacing League. They are actively seeking sign-ups, but it is a regional league, so if you live in Atlantic Canada, be Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, PEI, or Newfoundland, feel free to look these guys up at MIRL.com and hop in on this good short track racing action.
Correction on the website, it's MIRL.ca. MIRL.ca, home of the Maritime iRacing League, hosted by Tim Terry at Tim's Corner Motorsports. You mentioned that it's a regional league, and people don't necessarily think of Canada as a hotbed for motorsports, a hotbed for this kind of action. But the Maritime's very, very active. If you ever take a look at Tim's Corner Motorsports and timscorner.ca, there's so much that just goes on out in the Maritimes, out in Atlantic Canada. You don't think of it to being a stock car hotbed and a stock car breeding ground. There's so much that goes on up there.
Ontario, Canada. That's the suburban area. The closest thing we had to exciting racing was the Honda Indy race in Toronto. So if I wanted to watch in racing action, I had to see it on TV. But definitely, you get over there in the maritime provinces. There's a whole lot of great short track racing, a great community. Again, timscorner.ca. That's right, the Canadian.ca. I remember that stuff. But no, they have a whole bunch of stuff. You can check that out again, timscorner.ca. I mean, they do real racing in real life, so lots of these guys are well known at their local short tracks. So I bet a bunch of those people are going to be tuning in to see how their favorite drivers do here on the sim.
Lot of exciting racing coming up here with the Maritime iRacing League. Only the second race of this season of what's going to be a very long season for these guys. You know, we talked about the iRacing sim. We've talked about how it really is one of the most realistic sims out there. And a lot of these guys, it's about more than just having fun and playing a video game for them on a Wednesday night with all their buddies or on a Monday night. With the lesser league, with lower league, it's really about keeping their skills up, keeping their skills running, and keeping their skills as strong as they are, and being able to be competitive going into next season. This is where you're going to really see some guys perfect their skills really and get themselves in racing condition all throughout the long winter and going into next spring.
And definitely, again, this is part 2 on their 2013 campaign here in the fall. We're going to be covering them all the way up until December 11th, where they finish off this part of their season in Concord. So definitely a lot of great racing to come here on ETV Live. A lot of short track racing is coming to ETV Live, which I know JD is a big fan of. A whole bunch of people around here very interested in that. We also cover the USTRA stuff. So there's lots of great short track racing stuff on iRacing, which sometimes is overlooked. So this really puts a spotlight on it. And we saw great racing last week. I'm not expecting anything less tonight.
Not expecting anything less tonight from what's going to be a very strong field of drivers from across Atlantic Canada, all competing for pride and a little bit of money on the line. Be sure to join us here every Wednesday on ETV Live for the Maritime iRacing League. So much more left to cover in this league and so much more left to see. It's really going to, tonight, the first couple races of the season really can build up and can create what we're going to see in the champion.
And that's definitely true. The time continuing to wind down and qualifying. We're going to now send it down trackside for the national anthem.
The Canadian national anthem as performed by our very own Cactus Cuties. We thank them for their dedication to our friends up north. Lineups almost settled. All the drivers almost on. Down there, it's going to be 23 drivers taking the call. Check out 22 drivers taking the call, not including our administrator and most beloved friend, Tim Terry. 22 drivers will take it here at Irwindale. Let's go ahead and wait for the front line to get up there to bring you down the order. Real quick, Evan, what do you expect to see tonight?
I mean, you look at this racetrack running the outer lay here at the Irwindale Speedway. You mentioned Tim Terry. He compares this almost to a Darlington. You want to run that up on the high side. You got to try to make that pass. You mentioned you might want to dive it into the corner, get a slide jaw pass. It's going to be a great night of racing here. I mean, you're looking at the racetrack. You got 125 laps with these drivers. Should be a whale of a show.
Let's take you down the starting order. Starting on the pole, the man who controls the points right now, Dylan Duvall in the 42 machine. Outside of him, Jake Goodwin in the 48 starts second.
Starting inside row 2 in the third position, the number 98 of Stephen Matthews. Starting fourth, number 61 of Ricky Arbeau.
Mike Arlander in the 15 will start on the inside of row number 3. Outside of him in 6, the 22 of Keith Mack.
Starting 7th, the number 28 of Brad Eddy. Starting 8th, the number 9 of Craig McDonald.
Row number 5 belongs to Kevin Savory on the 88 on the inside, Ronald McKay and the 97 on the outside.
Inside row 6, the 11th starting position, number 6 of Nathan Doherty. Starting 12th, the number 38 of Travis Roma.
Mike Rhino will start in the 13th position in the 34 car. Outside of him, Andrew Starks in the 7 starts 14th.
Starting 15th, the number 33 of Doug Hubley. Starting 16th, the 27 of Carter Wilson.
David Cassidy, not that David Cassidy, but David Cassidy starts in the 17th position in the 25. The 00, Martin Landry, starts 18th.
Starting 19th, the 55 of Tracy Foster, taken to the grid on pit road. Starting 20th, the number 24, Mark Williams.
Jeff Gimlet, Vic Greenwood, Dylan Blackhorn, and Jared Butcher will restart the rest of this field. 22 drivers. Vic Greenwood will be the last of them to take the call. 22 drivers will take the call when we go to green flag racing in just moments, and you described it very well there, Evan. This is going to be a very Darlington-style track where they're going to have to run high, they're going to have to run fast, and hope that trouble doesn't come finding them throughout the race. 125 laps, you can't win it on lap number 1.
And Dave, we got a great night out here for racing. Partly cloudy, 82 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds in the northeast at 5 miles an hour. Relative humidity 59%. Pretty neutral, but the pace cars down pit road. We're going to be looking for the green.
Looking for the green. It's still in Duvall's field to control. Jake Goodwin right beside him, almost touching door to door as they get ready. Green flag flies, and here comes Dylan Duvall. Wasting no time, gets a jump in front of the 48 machine of Jake Goodwin. Battle for third now is a 98, 61 doing battle. 61 controls it. 15 thinks I'm making it 3 wide. Not going to happen. Score the 61 machine of Ricky Arbeau in third.
Definitely picking up that position. Stephen Matthews hanging on for fourth right now. We're side by side for the 5th position. You got the 15 of Mike Alexander trying to make it work on the inside. We know the top lane's preferred. The 22, Keith Mack, looking to hang on to that 5th position. He's going to get it off turn number 2. So the 15 of Alexander now has company. That is the number 28 machine of Brad Eddy trying to make it work on the top. The 15 needs to get up higher. He's going to continue to lose spots.
15 not going anywhere. Now it's a 9 of Craig McDonald. Last lap he tried the low line. Now he's trying a lower line around the 28, trying to knock off 2 birds with 1 stone. Not going to happen this time by. He's going to have to fall back in line and figure out another strategy to get around that 28 machine. 15, though, that's Mike Alexander. He's hanging tough out there. He's not moving forward per se, but he's not falling back. He's staying right with the 28 machine of Brad Eddy, and both of those guys working very strongly together to at least to stay in position. Dylan Duvall still in control of this field after 4 laps, now scoring lap 5. Jake Goodwin nowhere to go, but on his back bumper.
Mike Alexander finally losing that spot to the 28 of Eddy. Slid it up the hill in turns 1 and 2 that last lap. Was unable to hang on, but he was hanging tough there. And now the 9, actually, Craig McDonald getting around. He really gets an aggressive move to slide back up in line. 15, again, Alexander obviously trying to get up to the top to that preferred lane. And now they're side by side in front of him. The 28 of Brad Eddy going to the inside of the 22 of Keith Mack. He's going to make that work. So swap those guys for position down here. You mentioned Duvall is still up front. He's starting to pull away a little bit on Goodwin. Has about 6-7 car lengths this time into 1, but Jake Goodwin is definitely keeping that 42 inside.
Another guy looks like he's having a little bit of trouble out there is the 7 of Andrew Starks. He's been running that inside line consistently, trying to make that lower line work for him. Now trying to battle around the 38 of Travis Roma. That's for the 11th position. That's for halfway in this field. So far, the 7 of Andrew Starks making it work. Is he going to go back in line now that he has a clearance on the 38 for the 11th position? Yes, he will. He's going to hold up the 38 a little bit. Now the 34 of Mike Rhino wants to make a charge out there. Can he do it? He's going looking low. He might be able to. Travis Roma, nowhere to go but backwards.
definitely trying to make it stick there on the top. He's got the 34 of Rhino on the inside, this time going in through the turn. 34 with the advantage. He's going to try to slide up. He's going to get that spot. So the 34 of Rhino hanging on. The 38 Travis Roma could not complete that pass. So now he's going to drop to about a car length off of him. We've seen people trying that inside line. It hasn't really worked yet. Obviously, this track top line favoring some drivers, maybe trying to work that line in so that later on in the race it may work to their advantage. But however, already 10, 11 laps into this thing, it is still Dylan Duval up top, and the top line definitely the preferred place to be.
Now the rest of the field falling single file. Only battle on the field is a 33 and 00. Martin Landry on the inside. Doug Hubly on the outside. Hubly holding the 33 in position. That's for position number 16. Martin Landry not able to really get a run on the 33. He's going to be forced to run back in line. He's going to still hold the line rather well, looking to wait for the 33 to make a mistake. 33 doesn't look like he's that interested in making a mistake, so he's going to go ahead and stay high and make it work up there for him. 42 of Dylan Duval still in control of this race. Jake Goodwin second, Ricky Arbo in third in the 61 machine, but the 98 is Stephen Matthews knocking on his back door. He wants to get a piece of it. Let's see if we can go on the bumper of the 61.
Yeah, I was just going to say, keep an eye on this third spot because that 98 car, Stephen Matthews, has been trying to make something work these last couple laps. Keep sticking that nose down there in the bottom. You see right there, trying to make something happen. He knows the bottom line's not going to work until he gets the run going into the corner and try to make that slide job. You're taking a look on board right now, continuing to look at that left rear. Stephen Matthews, definitely maybe his race car a little bit quicker than that 61 of Ricky Arbo. It's just about timing it to make that pass as he takes another look on the back bumper of the 61.
And you see just how close they are. You can see that nose right in your face from the back bumper, from the perspective of the back bumper of that 61 machine of Ricky Arbo. Stephen Matthews, though, being smart about making this pass, making this thing work for him. He doesn't want to make the pass incredibly in a dangerous position. He doesn't want to push him up into the wall and jeopardize his chances out there. So he's going to continue to run comfortably behind him right now. He's going to make it work behind him and make it just go around. As you see the 61 and 98 continue to run out there. The 98 was waiting for the 61 to make a mistake, and when he does, that's when you're going to see the 98 make the pass.
And you're taking a look on board with that 98 of Stephen Matthews, taking a look. He's just riding in line, maybe forcing an error. 61 gets a little bit loose there in the middle of the corner. 98 gets right back up to that back bumper. You mentioned he's not going to force the issue right now, working lap 17 of 125. Still a lot of racing to go. He doesn't really want to make an aggressive move here and possibly damage both of their race cars if it doesn't go the way he wants. He's just going to ride in line, and hopefully if the opportunity presents itself, he'll definitely capitalize on it, but no need forcing the issue early on in the going.
Battle now between the 38 and the 27. They are side by side going on the back stretch and into turns 3 and 4. The 27 of Carter Wilson. He drops the 38. Now the 6 behind him. These might be losing 2 positions out here as well. The 6, not sure where to go. Almost thought about going with the 27 that time. Carter Wilson falls back in line. Nathan Doherty lets him. And then there's a 00 of Martin Landry. He finds a way to get around Doug Hubly in the 33 machine. So the 00 still hunting, though. He wants the 6 machine, and he wants it in a bad way. 00 didn't have the run that time. He's going to look for it again. I think Martin Landry is on the hunt right now, and he might be a late model to look for later in the race.
33 going backwards. That you mentioned the number 33, Doug Hubly on the top. He has the 24 of Mark Williams on his inside right now, trying to make that line work through the corner here. Mark Williams sitting in the 18th spot, trying to get it. The 33 catches the wall. Contact. They're both sideways. 24 into the grass. The 33 of Hubly is in the grass. They hang on to it now. No caution flag yet, but they're going to lose a lot of spots, and the 33 of Hubly is going to drop at least 4 positions.
At least 4 positions, if not more. The 24, Mark Williams, also going to lose a lot of positions out there. He was in 8th. He scored in the 18th position. He, for somehow, is able to retain that position out there, but I'm not much sure for how much longer. He didn't get the brunt of it. The number 33 of Doug Hubly, I think, got the worst of it out there. Vic Greenwood, Tracy Foster, the 11 and the 55, both 1 lap down right now, which does help them. But with that big hit and the speed of Dylan Duval right now in the 42 machine, it's only a matter of time before those guys get lapped. We're only on lap 24. We still got 102 laps left to go, but you never want to go a lap down and put your fate, your chances of winning a race, in someone else's hands.
Right now, side by side for the 13th spot, the 38 Travis Roma on the top, the 27 of Carter Wilson wants it. Wilson not getting the exit that he wanted, that time off 2, looking into turn number 3. If the 27 Wilson can't make that work, take a look at the 6 of Nathan Doherty right behind them. He could capitalize if the 27 makes an error and slides up the hill, but it looks like Wilson is hanging tough right now, trying to pick up that spot from Travis Roma. He has to be dedicated to it now, because if he can't make that work, he may get freight trained here on the top if he can't slide back in line. Now he's going to fall off of that quarter panel, try to look to the top, actually a 38 of Roma all the way up to the wall, so that's going to give Wilson a little bit of run, but they're still side by side going into turn 1.
As they continue to battle out there on the field, the 98 and the 11. Vic Greenwood not sure where to go out there. He's going to be stuck out by himself. The 38 and 27 still doing battle. The 38 of Travis Roma. Now the 27 of Carter Wilson gets a jump and gets a move. Score Carter Wilson in the 13th position. Travis Roma wants to get it back, not able to. Nathan Doherty and the 00 of Martin Landry now trying to work together and figure out what they can do to get moving forward.
At 6 car, Doherty looks pretty strong, trying to make something work, but take a look at the 00. You mentioned Martin Landry on that bottom. He's going to go and make it too wide on the 6 of Doherty. Really pushes up the hill there, did not get the grip that he wanted. He's going to fall back in line. Luckily for him, that 25 of David Cassidy right behind him did not get to that top line, or he could get stuck there, but he's definitely going to try to get that thing back together and go to make a move again, because he's definitely trying to make that spot up on the 6. You see, he really throws it there into the corner, trying to make up as much ground as he can on that number 6, so that 00 of Martin Landry has picked up 2 spots since the start of the race and looking to keep moving forward.
You're on board there. You see that battle from the perspective of the 25 machine. That's David Cassidy in the 25. You see those 2 cars trying to figure out what they want to do. I think the 00 is a strong car, and he's just having a quiet run right now. And if he can start figuring out how to get around cars, he might have it be a challenger for the lead, or at least a top 5 finish. Nathan Doherty in the same boat. Travis Roma as well. Problem is, time is not on their side. They still got plenty of racing left to go, but before you know it, if you buy too much time, you're going to find yourself trying to race with 12 seconds behind with 20 laps left to go.
Taking a look, last car in the lead lap right now, the 75 of Tin Terry yields to Dylan Duval as Duval goes around him. So Dylan Duval going to put Terry a lap down, which leaves 20 cars on the lead lap at this point. Let's take a look back at that battle for the 3rd position. They are still bumper to bumper, that being the number 61 of Arbo and the 98 of Matthews. Matthews still hanging tight there on the back bumper, that 61. He's been there the last handful of laps, not really making an aggressive move, but those guys still riding around with each other, still with pretty equal race cars at this point.
Tim joked with us last night in the NASCAR iRacing.com Series World Championship finale that he was going to run 24th on a field of 23, and so far tonight Tim is struggling a little bit, but you never know. The veteran and the administrator here might just have something for the rest of this field. Meanwhile, the 42 of Dylan Duval passing cars as if they were standing still. Now he gets around the 24 machine of Mark Williams. He's already left behind the 55 of Tracy Foster, the 86 of Jeff Gilman, Tim Terry, and now here comes the 48 of Jay Goodwin getting around all of those cars. So right now you have 6 cars at least 1 lap down. David Cassidy could be the next casualty any moment.
And Duval's still the fastest car on the racetrack, running about half a tenth to a tenth quicker laps than everybody else in the lead lap. About 1.4 second distance between him and the second place car, being the 48 of Jake Goodwin. You mentioned he's put several drivers 1 lap down now. 17 cars left on the lead lap. With those lap cars now starting to circulate around the racetrack, having troubles with their race cars, it can make passing a lot more dangerous here at this racetrack. Not really a lot of room. You got to work that top side. It's dangerous making it too wide and trying to pull that slide job. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens if we have a side-by-side battle and some lap traffic gets involved in that.
On the Steadicam, you see the gap between Dylan Duval and Jake Goodwin, 2 seconds on paper, but at Irwindale, it might as well be a time zone out there. Dylan Duval, a stranglehold on this race. Can he continue to hold it? We will find out. You are watching ETV Live's live coverage of the Maritime iRacing League race from Irwindale Raceway. Stay Speedway. Stay tuned, race fans. More coming up after this.
fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Travis, start your engines!
Michael Conti comes up at a corner number 4 in the checkered flag. He wins his first NASCAR iRacing. Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Welcome back, race fans, to the Energy Hour 125 here at Irwindale. As soon as we go to break, yellow flag on the field involving the 86 and the 24 machine. 86 gets into the 24, forces him up the track and into that divide out there, gets into the 98 as well. The recars involved in that accident, also the 97 and 22 getting around as well. The 22 telling the 97 that he, for some reason, he just couldn't see the accident out there. It didn't know to slow down and ultimately end up getting into the 97, and the 97 now having some problems with his car. We are back to racing under yellow flag. Double file restart as we get ready to go. It's going to be David Cassidy now up for credit up front. Jake Goodwin in second.
That was a tough break for those guys. No worse place on the track to get turned right where that wall goes away for the entrance to get onto that racetrack. And that was two-lap cars that actually collected some of our lead lappers, including the 98 car of Stephen Matthews, who we saw battling up front all night long up until that point. But the field's double up. Pace car down pit road, working in through turns 3 and 4. We're going to be looking for the green.
As we look for the green, Dylan Duvall, who's gone 3 for 3 so far in this series, he will restart 13th on the field. David Cassidy sees green flag. He's gone. Green flag flies, and there goes David Cassidy. It's going to be Jake Goodwin on the outside. Goodwin gets a big run on that outside line. He might leave the 25 in the dust. 3 wide now between the 61, the 22. Also behind them, the 7, the 97, the 9. 7 and 61 make contact. 61 saves it, but he's got some fender damage out there. 97 and 7 make contact. 97 gets a little bit loose out there. Still 3 wide. The 97, the 42, the 15, the 7, the 9, the 25, all doing battle throughout the track.
25, Brubble can't get that car going on the bottom of the corner. Lots of 3 wide. The 42 of Duvall making an aggressive move. We're still 3 wide. The 25 of Cassidy continuing to drop back and lose positions. Amazing that everybody got through there clean. Side by side, 3 wide now 2 wide for the 5th spot. The 7 of Andrew Starks on the top. Craig McDonald in the 9 on the bottom. He wants that position. And then there's that fast number 42 of Duvall. Crazy racing going on right now for the 5th spot as everybody tries to get themselves sorted out here on lap 50.
Dylan Duvall working hard to get moving and get up front. Dylan Duvall trying to work around the 7. What impressed me about the 42 machine is he is fast on the outside, he's fast on the inside, and he made both work. He just passed the 7 and the 9 simultaneously to jump from 7th to 5th. Dylan Duvall on a tear right now, and I think a lot more left to come from him. Behind him, more 3 wide racing. The 9 of Craig McDonald, the 7 of Starks, and the 97 of Ronald McKay. All 3 wide there for a moment. Now back to 2 wide racing, but then 97 thinking about making it 3 wide one more time. You see him right there beside the 88 of Kevin Savory.
And definitely see that 97 of Ronald McKay trying to make something work on the bottom of Andrew Stark. Same thing that we saw last week with Duval. Duval last week ran up front, came down for a pit midway through the race, started back mid-pack, but drove his way up and was the fastest car on the racetrack. So obviously what he's trying to do tonight with very aggressive movement, he is not shying away from some hard racing at all. We saw him go 3 wide and make it work. Now contact with the 7 and the 97. That's the 97 of McKay getting into the left rear of Andrew Starks. They keep that thing pointed forward, but that was a very crazy restart. Now we're side by side for the 10th spot. You got the 15 of Mike Alexander. He is under attack from the 34 of Mike Rhino on the top side. Rhino trying to make that work and get his way up into the top 10. It looks like he might clear that 15, not quite going into the corner. Possibly the 88 of Savory holding him up a little bit on the top.
The 88 of Kevin Savory trying to do everything he can to hold on to position. Mike Rhino now under fire from Mike Alexander. Alexander drives it deep into 1 and 2. Able to make it work temporarily, but now gets passed by the 34 of Rhino. The 15 of Mike Alexander still won't give up that position, won't make that work. Now let's go on the bumper of you watch the bumper of the 97 machine, and you can see just how much that battle is running out there and how aggressive that 15 machine is driving.
And definitely trying to make anything work. Lots of shuffling in the corner. Everybody just trying to get as much speed as they can. And again, it was amazing that they made it through there. I saw 3-4 wide on that restart. That 7 car, how about Andrew Sparks still trying to make something work on the bottom of the 97 of Ronald McKay. That's the battle for 7th. Andrew Sparks can't get it done. He'll pull back up in line, and then he gets right back to the inside trying to make something work. But he has Kevin Savory on his back bumper. Now there goes the 88 to the inside of the 7. He's going to try to make something work going into turn number 1. Can't get it done yet. Now they're door-to-door through the corner. Gets a little bit loose on that top side. The 7's going to be able to hang on for now. So one thing about this track is when you're focused on that guy in front of you, you have to keep an eye on who's behind you too, because if you make an error, those guys are going to be flying by you on the bottom, especially with an aggressive driver like the 88 of Savory.
Well, not only that, but you also, the more you focus on the guy in front of you, the harder it is to look behind. You'll see with that with Mike Alexander. He was so focused on getting forward and getting moving on that low line. He is now stuck back in the middle of the field. He's dropped back now to the 12th place position, the 27 getting in front of him. That's Carter Wilson. Kevin Savory also getting in front of him. So Mike Alexander, after that strong run on the low line, having trouble getting moving and getting back forward. Meanwhile, Dylan Duvall in the 42 machine works his way around the 61 of Ricky Arbo, and Dylan Duvall once again a threat to take away this race.
How about race leader right now, the 48 of Jake Goodwin, holding on to the lead, qualified in that second position, has Brad Eddy about a car or 2 lengths off of his back bumper. Eddy actually qualified 7th, but you mentioned that 42 of Duval has worked his way up, starting from around the 9th position. We're going to go on board here with Duval, taking a look. He's sitting in the 3rd spot right now with that GX Gaming number 42. Trying to make something work. You mentioned he got around Arbo just 3-4 laps ago after getting around McDonald McKay. I mean, that 42 is fast. You look, he's running a lot lower line than everybody else. That way he can sweep it up high off the corner, and he is definitely gaining on that 28, looking to go up front.
The 6 of Nathan Doherty makes the move on the 00. Martin Landry scored. Nathan Doherty now in the 13th position. About up in front of him, Mike Alexander still trying to look for something to work. Meanwhile, up front, the 42 now starting to dig a little bit. He's running a little bit more aggressive line behind the 28 and the 48. Still plenty of racing to go, left to go. In the Energy Hour Productions 125, but I know the 42 of Duval is cognizant of time. He's cognizant of how many laps are left. And you know that he wants to get a run going and make something moving so that he can and will win this race. The 28 of Brad Eddy and the 48 of Jake Goodwin are going to do everything they can to make sure he doesn't.
Again, he's looking for 4 for 4. I mean, he races in the Monday Night Sportsman Series, won that race last week to get into the Wednesday night big show, so to speak. Won this week's Monday night race. Again, looking to make it 4 for 4. He's right on the back bumper now. There's the 28 of Brad Eddy. Again, the 42 running a different line. You see he goes to the inside of the 28 right now, trying to keep his nose there, going into the corner. He's going to do it. That very aggressive line from Duval where he swipes down low in the middle of the corner and runs it up high is really benefiting him and his race car. He's got the advantage now on Eddy going into the corner. All he's got to do is clear him, and he's got that 48 of Goodwin in his side as he makes an aggressive move, slides up the hill, gets contact actually from the 28, being able to hang on, but aggressive driving by the 42 of Duval. He is determined to get back up front.
Determined, but almost at the cost of his car. The 28 and 42 making contact. 42 makes the big save. So Dylan Duvall now scored in second, and you know he is not done charging. He wants to get up front and get back in front of that 48. The 48 of Jake Goodwin, watching all this happen in his rearview mirror, do things going through his mind right now, I guarantee you. Number one, hoping the 42 outdrives himself and ends up wrecking and gives the 48 the win tonight. And number two, if Dylan Duvall doesn't wreck, what do I got to do to keep in front of him? And what do I got to do to make sure that he can't get around me?
Duvall is definitely fearless. The moves that he's making, the slide jobs, how hard he's throwing that race car into the corner. I don't know if you can beat that besides running as defensive line as you can and only look forward and pray that he does not get to your back bumper, because that 42 definitely has the speed. You mentioned he might overdrive it and take himself out. That's something that you see a lot at these short tracks, is the aggressive drivers overdrive it a little bit too much and beat themselves. They have the winning race car, but just can't hang on to it. But that 42 has great car control. We've seen him sideways off of the corner, get some contact, but he still keeps that thing pointed forward, doesn't lose an ounce of momentum, and continues to try to chip away at that lead that Jake Goodwin has now. Duvall starting to put a little bit of a gap on that 28 of Eddie and continue to close on Jake.
The 88 trying to do battle with the 34 of Mike Rhino. That's Kevin Savory in the 88. You see them side by side. Let's go to the door cam off the 34 machine of Mike Rhino, and you can see just how close that battle is. The 88 running strong on the low line, trying to force the 34 up the hill, trying to play a little bit of chicken with them here at Irwindale Speedway. Not going to happen, though. I think the 34 knows he's got a little bit stronger car. He's got an undamaged car, at least, and keeping the 88 behind him for now.
And definitely 88 coming over the radio. That's Kevin Savory. He says all he's doing there by riding on the bottom is going to wear his tires out, so he's going to pull back in line for now. Again, he was trying to make it work on that 34 Rhino. Rhino on the top. The preferred lane was just hanging on to his spot, and that's how he got that 88 of Savory to pull back in line and let that go for the time being. Everybody bumper to bumper from 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's Rhino, Savory, Wilson. Then they got the 15 of Alexander. All these guys in a very close-knit group around that top 10 position, looking to do battle, maybe pick up a spot or two as we work lap 74 of 125.
The 75 of Tim Terry now getting passed by your leaders. He will go one lap down once again. That's the 48, the 42, and the 28, and the 42 sees opportunity in this. He drives it way deep into turns 1 and 2. Now he's going to try to do the same thing in 3 and 4, trying to pick up position on that 48 machine. And with every pass, he gets a little bit closer, but he doesn't seem to have the horses to make it work. Is it the horses that are running out on him, or is it the tires? Did he burn too much up coming back from 13th on that last restart?
He definitely drove that race car hard. Obviously, he's not catching Goodwin as fast as he did everybody else, but it looks like he's making a little bit of headway also. He likes to throw it down in the corner. Watch out for the lap traffic in front of him that might affect his line. The 48 gets held up almost by lap traffic. Duvall almost got to the inside there. Now Goodwin to the inside. The 42 of Duvall coming in here, taking a look. The 42 way down, trying to get a nose there. He is there. 42 of Duvall trying to hang to the inside. 48 is going to give him the room 3 wide with the lap car. The 55, you're taking a look from Duvall, trying to make it stick. It's into the left rear of the 48. They're pointed forward for now.
3 wide battling there for a second. Now back to 2 wide. Dylan Duvall of the 42. The 48 of Jake Goodwin. The lap traffic seems to have helped Jake Goodwin out there, and Jake Goodwin will retain the lead. Dylan Duvall now almost sideways. He needs to figure out a new strategy, and he needs to figure it out quickly. Time is running out, less than 50 to go out here on the field. Dylan Duvall second, Jake Goodwin first, and then there's Brad Eddy. Been patient all night, is still running third, but I think he's going to wait for one of these two guys in front of him, either the 42 of Duvall or the 48 of Goodwin, to make a mistake before he makes his move.
And definitely, that's what I was worried about when we were talking about the lap traffic earlier on in the race. You saw the 48 of Goodwin get stuck behind a lap car and had to make an aggressive move to the inside. If he did that a split second later, Duvall would have had the position This time, the 98 being the lap car of Stephen Matthews, going to go 2 laps down now, yields to the inside. So Goodwin and Duvall go up on the top. We're taking a look at the split screen here, also taking a look with the number 15 car as well, and in the battle with our leaders at the moment. Duvall about 1 or 2 car lengths off of Goodwin. He keeps trying to throw it down there on the inside and try to sweep up off the corner, try to get as much speed as he can. It's working, but once he gets there, he does not have the speed or the tires just yet to make the pass. So we're going to have to see this as this run continues on, but we are now underneath 45 laps to go.
Underneath 45 laps to go, and the 15's got the run. He's going to get around the 27, and the 88 looks like he's going to give him some room as well. 88 and 15 make contact. 88 makes it to the 27, 3 wide now. The 27, the 88, and the 15. 27 loses that battle. He gets some heavy damage on his right side. The 6 sees the opportunity. He's going to hook up with the 15. That's Nathan Doherty working with Mike Alexander. Carter Wilson trying to hold on to position is going to lose it to Mike Alexander, and potentially Kevin Savory going to lose position to Mike Alexander as well.
Yeah, that 15 Alexander on the inside, trying to make it work. Got good corner exit there. He's got the 27 of Wilson on his top side. Remember, he's got to make that slide jump if he wants to make that position stick. However, he doesn't have enough room to get in front of that 27 because the 88 of Savory is right there. And Savory is now focused on the back bumper of the 34, the 15, trying to make it 3 wide, possibly the 88 a little bit slower right now. The 15 is going to drop back a little bit, which allows the 6 of Nathan Doherty to get on his top side, but we're still side by side with the 88 and the 27.
Meanwhile, back up front, the 48 and the 42 back to the business of doing business. The 42 Dylan Duvall gets into the 48, almost loses it. The 42 gets sideways, saves it somehow. And the 28 of Brad Eddie almost collected. Eddie debating getting his nose underneath the 42. He might be collecting those debts in just a moment if the 42 can't decides to make another dangerous move out there that could jeopardize his night.
And taking a look at the replay there from the onboard of the 42 of Dylan Duvall. Really aggressive move like he has all night long. And last week, obviously, bumped a few people around to get up front. Very aggressive driver, determined. I mean, he had the car to do it, but he just can't make that pass on Goodwin. Takes him a couple laps to work back up to the back bumper of that 48, but just hasn't been able to make it stick once he dedicates himself to the inside. Gets real loose. We've seen him sideways, again, off of turn number 4 several times. So just trying to make it work when he can. Goodwin still with a 1 car length lead at this point.
Time's running out. Who's going to end up winning this race? Only time will tell. Stay with us, race fans. You are watching ETV live coverage of the Energy On Productions 125, part of the Maritime iRacing League. Jake Goodwin in the lead. Can he hold on for the win? We'll find out when we come back.
Plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
Action on the track in the NGR Productions 125 at Irwindale Speedway. You're watching it on the replay right now. The 48 gets loose on the high side, almost gets into Dylan Duvall, or Dylan Duvall comes up. In any event, Dylan Duvall comes up, gets sideways, gets around. The 48 machine gets around, gets heavy rear end damage. The 28 gets into the 48 as he's sliding around. The 28 then collects the 25 of David Cassidy and the 621 of Ricky Arbo. 4 cars involved, no yellow flag. So we continue to race out here under the green flag conditions, despite the fact there's no yellow flag out there.
And that has a lot of drivers heated up on the radio. We have Ricky Arbeau, Adam Gilliland been given warnings from the MIRL officials to keep it quiet on the radio. And now this could change the aggression at the top of the field because Dylan Duval has the 48 coming up on him. Does the 48 think that the 42 gave him a cheap shot there by coming up a little bit too high when the 48 got sideways? This is going to be a great battle to the finish. Depends how they decide to make it work. The 48, Goodwin, take a look to the top side. He is sideways all over the racetrack. These cars are going to limp to the finish here at the front of the field.
The 42 machine comes out almost unscathed. The 48, however, heavy rear end damage, and you can see that affecting his car. 48 now drives it hard into the turn. The 48 machine of Jake Goodwin takes the lead temporarily. The 42 of Dylan Duval, though, able to get back on the gas faster, and he is back in the lead. Jake Goodwin, though, will not relent. He continues to drive that 48 machine down hard. He is now side by side with Dylan Duval. Jake Goodwin drives it hard into the corner through 1 and 2. Jake Goodwin back in the lead. 42 makes contact with him again.
Making the slide job, didn't have the speed. 42 into his back bumper. Now Duval's going to look to the inside. Very hard racing up front. The 48 of Goodwin is determined to stay at the front of this field. Has major rear end damage, but is making it work right now. Dylan Duval back into the second spot. We've seen Goodwin throw that there to the inside and make the slide job. He's up front for now by 3 car lengths. You're on the back bumper of the 48. Taking a look back at Duval. Duval working around the 98, being the lap traffic car of Stephen Matthews. This is a heated battle up front, and the laps continue to wind down. Nearly 23 laps to go. Can Goodwin hang on?
Can Goodwin hang on? That is the $64,000 question. Dylan Duval, when he made contact with the 48 of Jake Goodwin, got some nose damage on him. You can barely see it, but there is a little bit of nose damage, which could hurt him and could hurt his ability to turn that car and get it back on the gas. The 48 of Jake Goodwin, even though he's a little bit loose, that might be helping his driving style right now, as he's able to split some distance between him and the 42. The big winner in all that incident is a 9 of Craig McDonald. He's now up to third, and he's now on the back bumper of Dylan Duval. He might take second away from Duval. That nose trouble might be hurting him even more than we thought.
Yeah, the 42 does not have the speed that he had. He may be overthrown from the crown here tonight. 3 for 3 so far. He has damage on the front end of the race car. The 48 has damage on the rear end, and that could be the deciding factor, because Goodwin, even though his appears to be more damaged, is faster than that 42, and now Duval has company with the 9 of Craig McDonald. I don't think Dylan Duval has the speed left to get that thing back up front, and this could be Jake Goodwin's race to spoil the party for that number 42 team.
Jake Goodwin now gets around the lap traffic of the 38 machine. That's Travis Roma, currently being scored in 12th. Meanwhile, the 42 of Duval still under fire from that 9 machine of Craig McDonald. That nose damage, let's see if we can get a camera to see, so you can see the nose damage on that 42 machine. There's definitely some nose damage affecting that car, and I think that nose damage is not making him aerodynamic. It may have caused him to have his front suspension hurt as well. So the 42 now under fire, might be hurting a lot more than we think he is out there, struggling to stay in front of the 9 of Craig McDonald.
And definitely have to feel for that 42 after that incident. It looked like he was going to run away with this thing. Aggressive move by the 9 now. Craig McDonald up in front of him, gets a shot from the 42. Now Duval's going to go to the inside, go up and into the 9 car now. Craig McDonald up along the outside wall. Then you have Duval on the inside racing their hearts out for a second. More contact into turn number 1. The 42 giving that 9 no room for second. And here comes the 97 of Ronald McKay.
Ronald McKay might be able to inherit some big position as a result of the incident. 9 and 42 make contact again. 42 now sideways, gets into the 9. 97 over, gets clear. 42 and 9 around. Incident on the track, major incident that will hurt Dylan Duval. Oh no, now Dylan Duval gets into the 9 machine again as the 9 tries to get on track. Craig McDonald now into the wall. No love lost between the 42 and the 9.
The caution is out. We saw that brewing over the last couple laps. We saw an aggressive move by the 9 car of Craig McDonald, who obviously did not appreciate, or Duval did not appreciate the 9's move of McDonald. Duval over the radio saying there was nothing clean about that. The 42 ran him up into the wall a couple more corners, didn't give him any room, and then eventually they just got hooked around with each other after the 9 got into the back of the 42. And then obviously the 42 car also getting into the 9 after the caution had been thrown, taking a jab to the right. The 9 went back into the wall. Some other cars may have been involved in that incident, and tempers boil over here at Irwindale. That's short track racing.
I bet you both the drivers, both McDonald and Dylan Duval, glad this is only a sim, because if it had not, this would have come to fisticuffs. Both cars being parked for the 9th, and the Little Red trailer is going to be a very, very busy place at the end of this race. What a crazy incident between those two. No love lost, obviously, as those guys are so just running back and forth, making all that contact, and then ultimately the 42 pushing the 9 headfirst into the wall. So we now know one thing, my friend. We now know one thing, Evan. We are guaranteed this, if nothing else. There will be a new winner tonight, and it won't be Dylan Duval.
And we saw that brewing the last couple laps. Duval obviously frustrated because of the incident earlier on in that race, just a handful of laps earlier when he got into that 48 car up front, which evidently damaged his car that he could not hang on to the lead. And then probably the big slide job by Craig McDonald upset him. And I mean, I saw that coming for those last 2 laps, running into each other, giving each other no room, and evidently it just spun each other out. And I mean, you said it right. Good thing that this is sim racing, because there'd be a hauler party down there on pit road, so to call. I mean, just tempers boiling over. Really, really, really hard racing, and in the end, it ends up with 2 destroyed race cars, and none of those drivers are going to be happy at the end of the night.
So as a result of those 3 incidents, 2 bringing out yellow flags here at Irwindale Speedway for the Energy Hour Productions 125. Only 7 cars, or check that, yeah, only 7 cars on the lead lap. Those are Jake Goodwin in the 48, Kevin Savory in the 88, Mike Alexander in the 15, Nathan Doherty in the 6, the 97 of Ron McKay, Carter Wilson in the 27, and Travis Roma in the 38. 7 cars on the lead lap, everybody else at least 1 lap down.
And you have to think, does this put that 15 of Alexander in the catbird seat? I mean, you look at the 48 Goodwin with rear end damage, the 88 of Savory with rear end damage. This was all happened. I mean, the field got spread out after we saw that incident about mid-race where there was no caution flag thrown. So now the 15 has the best looking car right now, sitting in 3rd. Does he have enough time to get a position, and if he's fast enough, make that move on the 88 and the 48 here, because we're going to be going green with less than 10 laps to go. So it's going to be interesting. Does that 15 capitalize, or does Jake Goodwin mainly only have cosmetic damage that can keep that thing pointed forward? Pace cars down pit road. We're going to find out.
The 48 and the 88 both getting ready to do battle here. It's going to be a shootout. It'll be 9 laps to go when we're back to the green flag. Here we go, 9 to go. Jake Goodwin gets the jump. Kevin Savory in 2nd. Here comes Mike Alexander in the 15. And don't discount Carter Wilson in the 27 in 4th. Both these cars looking for trouble. Here comes the 97. He's driving it in hard. He wants a piece of the action as well.
It sticks for now. The 97, Ronald McKay on the inside of the 15 of Alexander. This time into the corner, really throws it in there sideways, kicking the rear end out. He's going to make that spot up. Now he's side by side with the 88 for 2nd. Hold on, here comes the 97, charging to the front in the late going. Now has the advantage, trying to get up there for 2nd spot. Can't clear the 88. He's going to try to get that slide job here in turn number 3. Get back up to that top line. Here comes McKay.
Ronald McKay out of nowhere gets 2 positions. Now he's looking for the lead. Jake Goodwin, who started 2nd, he wants to hold on to it if he can. 7 laps to go, 6 now that they've crossed the line. The 97 and 48 side by side. Jake Goodwin might get knocked off by Ron McKay. Ron McKay looking for business out there. Business is booming as they run side by side.
Where did this 97 come from? He has the advantage on the inside. The 48 of Goodwin trying to hang on for dear life. Give the advantage to McKay that time by the stripe. Trying to make it work on the inside. 48 gets sideways up to the wall. New leader, the 97 of Ronald McKay with less than 5 to go.
5 to go, it'll be 4 to go as soon as we cross the stripe. Ronald McKay looking strong out there. He might take away the lead. Jake Goodwin in second. Kevin Savory now holding on to third. Mike Alexander looking to dethrone him as well. Behind them, Carter Wilson in the 27. Andrew Stark in the 7. Both looking for position. Check that Carter Wilson in the 27, holding on to fifth. The 7 of Andrew Starks trying to get back on the lead lap. He is 1 lap down, and unfortunately now the only way to do it is by doing it the hard way. Side by side with the 15, almost gets into him.
Definitely nothing to gain at this point for him. That leader a couple seconds ahead. It's causing a big cluster of race cars there around that spot. Now you see the 27 there, or the 22 rather, on the inside there also with the 27 of Wilson on the top. Wilson is a lead lap car. Things continuing to wind down, but with less than 2 to go, it is Ronald McKay with a 1 second lead. If a caution flag were to fly, the race is done. Ronald McKay comes by the stripe to take the white flag. One more circuit, and he's going to victory lane.
Ron McKay is, after a quiet race, able to get up front. He is only 2 turns away from winning the race here at Irwindale Speedway. 2 more turns. Ronald McKay, your winner of the Energy Hour Productions 125. Jake Goodwin finishes second. Kevin Savory third. It'll be Mike Alexander fourth. And Carter Wilson walks away with the top 5 finish. Wrecking now behind them, 75, 77, 20, check that, 11, 25, all involved in a last lap incident.
Huge incident at the end of the race. The 75 gets caught behind a slow car, being the 11 of Vic Greenwood. Greenwood into the wall, collecting the 25. What a finish to this race. Where did that 97 come from? Coming from the second or third rows there on that last restart with a very fast car, making it work on the bottom, capitalizing on the issues with those leaders being the 48 and the 88. And that 97, after qualifying 10th, coming out of nowhere, is going to go to victory lane.
And I've got a feeling that Tim Terry and the 11 of Vic Greenwood might have some words after this race. We do have a camera in the parking lot just in case things and push comes to shove later on in the evening as a result of what we've seen on track. The 97 of Ron McKay burning them out there. He's excited, exalted, excited after a big win here in the Energy Hour Productions 125 at Irwindale Speedway. When we come back, race fans, we'll talk to your top 3, recap the race, and look forward to next week's race coming up in the post-race show. You are watching ETV Live's live coverage of the Maritime iRacing League Energy Hour Productions 125 at Irwindale Speedway. Ronald McKay, your winner.
Hey, JD here with ETV Live, and let me tell you something. If it's too big for the pickup truck and you need to move it, there's only one trucking company you need to call, and don't bother with the Yellow Pages Cowboy. I'll give you that number in a minute. Manufactured goods, automotive, technical equipment, furniture, even if you need a reefer, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated is the only choice, Cowboy. With locations in Mississauga, Ontario, Canada, Rancho Cucamonga, California, if you need to move it, store it, and keep it cold, you need to call Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated. Long haul, short haul, or just across town, Gary Mercer has the best trained and qualified drivers to get your load from point A to point B with professionalism and on time. So remember, Hoss, if it don't fit in a pickup truck, you're going to need a real truck, Cowboy. Sponsors of ETV Live's Friday Night Showdown, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated, 1-800-668-2980.
125 laps done here at Irwindale Speedway for the Energy Hour Productions. 125. Ronald McKay stands on top as your winner. Jake Goodwin finishes second. Kevin Savory third. Mike Alexander fourth. Carter Wilson fifth. Travis Roma sixth. Nathan Doherty seventh. Andrew Starks eighth. Keith Mack ninth. Mike Rhino rounds out your top 10. League Administrator Tim Terry finishing 12th. And I think that one of the bigger storylines of the evening, Dylan Duvall, Craig McDonald, both parked after a major incident between the two. McDonald finishing 17th on the night. Dylan Duvall finishing 18th. Right now, it's all about Victory Lane and our very own Evan Posco down on Victory Lane with your winner tonight, an ecstatic Ronald McKay.
And definitely the champagne is out. Ronald McKay, very excited with this win, came over the radio celebrating right after he crossed that checkered flag. Ronald, where did you come from on that last restart? We saw you had a wicked fast car down the bottom. How'd you make that stick?
We went in and took some tires at the end there. We had nothing to lose, and I was probably going to be okay on fuel, but I didn't want to take a chance on it and finishing and for the points and everything. So we just came down, we took 4 tires and a little bit of fuel, and was lucky enough to get a couple of holes to go into there early on when we went back to green, and managed to run Jake down. I mean, Jake had a great car, obviously. He just had no tires left at the end. But we got lucky tonight. We didn't really have a good car. We were about a 6th or 8th place car. The car wasn't right all night, and we just got a lot lucky there, so we'll certainly take it.
A very aggressive 125 laps that we witnessed tonight at the Irwindale Speedway. Your car managing to make it to Victory Lane, looking pretty nice compared to some of our other competitors. You got a little bit of sheet metal damage. How did the race go from behind the wheel?
I thought the race went pretty well. I mean, a lot of the boys were a lot of give and take. I know Keith and Mike Alexander, I raced around them guys a couple of times, and they were lots of room. Everybody was give and take. There was no maliciousness, as we say, as out there. I didn't think anyway. It looked like a pretty good race. A lot of green flag running, so I think that's what kind of ruined it for us. If we could have had a couple of more cautions, we might have been able to dial the car in a little bit better. But at the end of the day, it all worked out, so we're pretty happy.
And definitely a win at the historic Irwindale Speedway. Not much better than that. Obviously, congratulations on your win. Who do you want to thank here from Victory Lane? Who makes it happen for you and your Charger team?
I'd like to thank Action Car and Truck Accessories and Sean Simple Signs. They just came on board this week, and Tim's Corner Motorsports. And I'd like to thank my buddy Sean Waterfield. He was spotting for me all night and got me out of a couple of little messes there that were happening around us. So thanks to all them guys.
Well, congrats on your victory. Good luck in the upcoming weeks. We hope to see you in Victory Lane again.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Great show. And by the way, big thanks to Nick Story and Energy Hour for putting this on, by the way.
Definitely. 97 Ronald McKay coming here late in the going after making a pit stop, gets his way into Victory Lane. Now I do believe somewhere on this crazy pit road is Joe Cortez caught up with our second place finisher, Jake Goodwin.
Jake Goodwin in a very beat-up 48 machine. And Jake, let's start at the beginning. Let's start with what everyone wants to talk about. What happened in that incident between you and Dylan Duvall?
I'm not really sure. I think he just tried to come up a little higher than we had room for. I'm not sure if I got in the wall and bounced down or not, but it was quite a mess.
It was definitely a mess, but despite all of that, you were still able to run faster and get in front of Dylan Duvall. The damage didn't seem to hurt you a whole lot, except freeing up that car a little bit.
Yeah, the damage didn't affect me any. I think I must have knocked his toe out because right after that, he was quite a bit slower. He was the fastest car all night.
You were pretty fast yourself, going all the way up to the very last restart. Walk us through what happened in that last restart as Ron McKay made that big drive.
As soon as I seen him go in the pits, I knew it was going to be a dash to the end. Either I needed a quick caution or he needed to have some trouble because my tires were pretty worn out.
How bad were the tires for you all night? I mean, you seem to have just worn them out throughout the race. How bad were they at the end? And do you feel that if you had a little bit more tires, could you have won the race tonight?
If I had pitted with them, it would have been a chance to take, though. Usually caution comes out if that happens, but if I had pitted with them, it would have been a close race probably.
Next week, you've got New Smyrna. What are your thoughts going in? And are we going to see the 48 back in the top 3 next week?
Yeah, I'd like to. That'd be good. Hopefully keep her up top 5 at least.
Jake Goodwin finishing is in second place tonight. Jake, before I let you go, any shout-outs, anything you'd like to offer? Microphone's all yours.
I'd like to thank CBC Racing and all the help and practice throughout the week. And big thanks to Nick Story and Energy Hour Productions for putting the show on.
Jake Goodwin in the 48 machine, finishing second tonight in the Maritime iRacing League race at Irwindale Speedway. Good run, Jake.
Yeah, thanks.
Evan Posco caught up with your third place finisher, Kevin Savory.
And that's right down here on pit road with the driver of that number 88, Kevin Savory. Kevin had a pretty fast car all night long. Wasn't the fastest for sure in practice. Finished 12th, qualified 8th. You seem to improve the car all night long. You come home with a third place finish. What does that mean for you and your team?
Oh, I'm more than happy with a third place finish. I wasn't even going to race tonight feeling under the weather, but I'll take it for sure.
Definitely not a bad performance for not feeling 100% there in the closing laps. You started on that final restart in that second spot. Didn't have anything for what eventually would be our race winner at the end of the night, but you were closing in on that 48 a good one. Do you think if we had a couple more laps, you might have been able to steal second?
I don't know. Jake is tough. Teammate's tough, so it would have been tough. I know Ronnie had fresh tires, so I know there was no chance for him.
And definitely, and your car, a little bit of beat up in that back end, but you managed to keep your nose clean for some of the hard racing that we saw tonight. How was the car all night long behind the wheel, and how was the race from your perspective?
Oh, the car was good. The longer the green flags went, the better it felt, and just stay out of trouble.
And definitely, again, looking forward to next week and the rest of the season. You're confident, you're starting to get your confidence back, coming back into the series here for part 2 of the 2013 campaign. Think we're going to see you up front more as the season progresses?
Yeah, I'm trying a little different strategy this year, a little more patience.
And definitely, well, hey, congrats on a top 3 finish. Definitely Irwindale Speedway, no easy track by any means. Who makes it happen for you?
Yeah, definitely impressed with the run, and I want to thank CBC and all the practice we got in, and hopefully we'll be here again next week.
Well, keep an eye on that 88 in the coming weeks. Kevin Savory taking his number 88 home with a top 3 finish. Joe, that does it down here from pit road.
And joining us before we go off air tonight is the man who makes this work, driver of the number 75 machine and your league administrator in the Maritime iRacing League, Tim Terry. Tim, let's talk about the biggest storyline of tonight. Dylan Duvall not able to make it 4 for 4 and potentially sanctions now coming down on the driver of that 42 machine and the guy who got into him, Craig McDonald.
Yeah, I've got to have a meeting here in the next couple of moments with our two sitting admins tonight, JD Laird and Adam Gilliland. I actually need to thank both of those guys because they tried to keep everything calm when everything was going on, because I look back in my rearview mirror and I see those guys taking swipes at each other, which is kind of where you have to take the helmet off and put the administrator cap on, but then again, you still have 15 laps to go. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I ran the first 110 laps of this race in the initial tires that I started off. So 2 laps down, I wasn't, or 1 lap down, I wasn't too bad. I have to apologize to Vic Greenwood for running into him at the finish because he ran out of fuel. But nevertheless, yeah, we got some stuff to look at. And with 2 series that we have a Monday and a Wednesday series. Those two are leading the points in the Monday series as well, so any sanction that they have here could very well impact their Monday series. We've got some work to do. Me and JD and Adam are going to sit down here in a few minutes and talk about what's going on. We got some work to do, but I want to thank everybody for coming out. We've had great turnouts in the Sportsman Series on Monday nights. Need to send a big thank you out to Nick Story and Energy Hour. Listen on 957thewolf.ca for his great show. Like him on Facebook, facebook.com/Energy Hour Productions. And also Sean Waterfield and Ronnie McKay for Sean Simple Signs coming on board next week for the 150 at New Smyrna. Still looking for some sponsors later on in the season. If you're watching us and want to get involved, get a hold of me. But it was fun. 2 cautions. The race was awesome, except for what happened on lap 109, and we're going to look at that here in a few minutes.
9 lead changes throughout the race, and Tim, we still have a camera looking at the parking lot just in case things happen. The MIRL hauler going to be a very, very busy place, very contentious place tonight, I'm sure. Before I let you go, real quick, next week, the Sean Simple Signs 150 at New Smyrna. Give us a preview of what we're going to see there.
I think you're going to see that 97 back up front again, honestly. Ronnie is so good at that racetrack, and it's going to be tough to beat the 97. Jake had an awesome run tonight as well. If the 42 and 9 come back next week, and I have no idea what we're doing with them, they'll be strong. Steve Matthews must have got caught up in that first wreck. I have no idea what happened there, but I passed him a couple times. He'll be quick. You'll see some Sportsman guys probably come up from Monday night and make the splash as well. But once again, Sean Simple Sign, Sean Waterfield, want to thank him for coming aboard. And I don't usually have the opportunity to thank my sponsors, but I'm going to thank my sponsors while we're here. Tim's Corner Motorsports, and I want to thank Swan Racing, everybody over in Swan Racing. I'm sure Laura got the deck lit at one point tonight. And Ackles Racing, want to thank Chantel Ackles for all the help.
And I'm sure Chantel Ackles appreciates giving you the help every week, Tim. Tim Terry, your administrator here, and the proprietor of Tim's Corner Motorsports at timscorner.ca. That'll do it for our coverage tonight. Evan Pasco, your final thoughts on what we saw here at Irwindale.
I mean, I think Tim hit it right on the head. Besides that incident at lap 109, we saw great racing. I remember, I think it was that second or first restart, we saw 3 wide for a good 3-4 laps. Everybody kept it pointed forward. I mean, there was battles all over the racetrack, guys aggressively trying to make that inside line work, eventually making it work and getting those passes on the bottom. And it was a great race for the Irwindale Speedway, and it just gets me more pumped up for next week.
Gonna be a fun one next week. Be sure to join us next week at 8 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Atlantic, 7 p.m. Eastern for the return of the Maritime iRacing League. It'll be the Sean Simple Signs 150 at New Smyrna. Try to say that one 3 times fast. The Sean Simple Signs 150 at New Smyrna, 8 p.m. Atlantic, 7 p.m. Eastern, here on the ETV Live. On behalf of our entire broadcast crew, my partner Evan Pasco, our producer running the cameras, Laura Lawson, executive producer JD Webb, I am Joe Cortez, congratulating once again Ronnie McKay on a big win here at Irwindale Speedway in the Energy Hour Productions 125. Our thanks to the Energy Hour Productions for sponsoring tonight's race. Listen to them at 957thewolf.ca and like them on Facebook at facebook.com/Energy Hour Productions. We will see you next week for the Sean Simple Signs at 150 at New Smyrna. Good night, race fans.
Network. Join 5,000 plus other listeners where you can hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV Live, sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio networks, HDRadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.